I always knew Marissa had a competitive streak, but I never thought she'd make it her life's mission to steal my boyfriend. It started with harmless flirting at least. That's what she called it. A lingering touch on his arm. Exaggerated laughs at his jokes. Little glances she thought I wouldn't notice. She's just being friendly, my boyfriend, Jake, assured me. But I knew better. Marissa didn't just want what she couldn't have, she wanted what I had. It had always been that way, ever since we were kids. If I got a new dress, she suddenly needed the same one. If I picked up a new hobby, she suddenly became an expert. And now her obsession had found a new target. I let her think she was winning. I watched as she accidentally invited Jake to places without me. How she leaned in just a little too close when speaking to him. How she made subtle digs at me whenever he was around. She's desperate, my best friend, Lisa, said one night. But Jake's not stupid. I wasn't so sure. Because eventually, curiosity gets the best of even the smartest men. One evening, Marissa sent me a message, dripping with fake concern. I thought you should know. Jake and I have been spending a lot of time together. You deserve the truth. I smiled. She thought she had me. She thought I would cry, scream, break down. Instead, I sent back a single response. I know, he told me everything. The moment she walked into the restaurant that night, expecting to see Jake, she found me instead sitting at a table with him, my arms crossed, watching her face pale. Jake spoke first. I wanted to tell you this in person. He looked at Marissa, then at me. I told her everything. Every text, every invitation, every lie. Marissa's lips parted. But I thought, you thought I'd cheat. Jake cut her off, shaking his head. I don't betray people I love. Marissa's eyes flicked to me, desperate for some way to turn this around. I just smiled. Better luck next time. But we both knew she had already lost. Marissa stood there, her face shifting between shock, embarrassment, and fury. She opened her mouth as if to argue, but nothing came out. You really thought I wouldn't notice? I asked, tilting my head. The way you kept pushing boundaries, the way you tried to turn him against me. Jake leaned back in his chair, crossing his arms. The thing is, Marissa, you were never subtle. Every time you texted me, I showed her. Every time you invited me somewhere without her, I told her. You thought you were playing a game, but we were 2 steps ahead. Marissa's jaw clenched. I was just trying to be a good friend. Jake scoffed. Friends don't try to ruin relationships. She turned to me now, eyes narrowing. You set me up. I shrugged. I just gave you the chance to show your true colors. Silence stretched between us. The restaurant felt smaller, suffocating. And I could tell Marissa wanted nothing more than to storm out with her dignity intact. But she had none left. You always thought you were better than me, she finally spat. Always acting like you're so perfect. I laughed. No, Marissa. I just don't need to steal someone else's life to feel important. Jake grabbed my hand, signaling that we were done with her. Good luck finding someone who actually falls for your act, he said, his voice cool. Marissa glared at both of us for a long moment before turning, on her heel and walking away. I expected her to give up after that, to slither back into her usual life, embarrassed but wiser. I was wrong. Marissa wasn't the type to accept defeat gracefully. She started spreading rumors about me, about Jake, about our relationship. She's controlling, she whispered to mutual friends. He's probably only staying with her because he feels guilty. She trapped him. She told people at parties. You should have seen the way she manipulated him into staying. It was pathetic, really. Watching her scramble to rewrite the story, trying to make herself the victim. But no one believed her. Because while Marissa was busy chasing after my life, I was busy living it. Jake and I only grew stronger. Her attempts to break us only made us laugh. And eventually, people stopped listening to her desperate tales. One day, months later, I ran into her at a cafe. She looked tired, like the weight of her own bitterness was finally wearing her down. You still with him? She asked, forcing a smirk, as if she thought she could still get under my skin. I sipped my coffee, still happy, still in love. Her lips pressed into a thin line. She lost, she knew it, and nothing she did would change that. I stood up to leave, pausing only once to glance back at her. Next time, Marissa, I said softly, get your own life. And with that, I walked away without ever looking back. Marissa's last move. I thought that would be the end of it. I thought Marissa would finally get tired of chasing a battle she had already lost. I was wrong. A few weeks later, Jake and I were out with friends when Lisa nudged me and whispered, "Marissa's here." I followed her gaze. There she was, standing at the bar in a tight dress. In a tight dress. Her markup perfect. Her smile sharp. And next to her, Jake's ex. I sighed, of course. Lisa frowned. What's her endgame this time? I already knew. If she couldn't break us directly, she'd try another angle. Stir up drama, poke at old wounds, see if Jake and I would crack under pressure. But we didn't. Jake barely acknowledged his ex beyond a polite nod. When Marissa accidentally stumbled over to our table, batting her last at him, he didn't even flinch. I, on the other hand, just smirked. Still trying Marissa. It's getting embarrassing. She rolled her eyes. Oh, relax. I'm just here to have fun. Good, I said, leaning in slightly. Then go have fun. Somewhere else. Her smile faltered, but she recovered quickly. You know, you're kind of paranoid. Maybe that's why you're so scared of losing him. Jake let out a low chuckle. She's not scared of losing me, he said easily, because she knows I'd never downgrade. Marissa's face turned red. Lisa laughed. If that one had to hurt. Marissa clenched her jaw, then spun on her heel and stormed away. After that night, Marissa finally gave up. Maybe it was the humiliation. Maybe it was realizing she had wasted months obsessing over a game. She was never going to win. Either way, she stopped trying to contact Jake, stopped showing up where we were, stopped pretending she wasn't desperate for my life. And me? I moved on, completely. Because while Marissa was busy plotting, I was busy living, loving, succeeding. And the best revenge, she had nothing.